It's been a few weeks since I brought home my dream car. But it's not without its problems. There's issues with the exterior, the interior, the engine, and just other little niggly bits. So I wasted no time in taking it for an MOT, which it passed, but just with an advisory for the suspension, which I'll get onto later. And then I laid it up in the garage because something was scaring me about driving it.
The majority of them have issues because the cats fail. I tell everybody all the same, get the bloody stock cats off it.
All the professionals and everywhere online seems to mention that the cats break up, get sucked into the engine and just cause massive damage. So it's advised to decat it immediately.
If you've got a 5 litre Gallardo, take the cats out, throw them away. You'll save yourself thousands.
So I guess that's the next job to do.
Here I am, I'm in the garage on this absolutely freezing day. There's the car, and today I've got some decat pipes. Here are the stainless steel second-hand decat pipes because the cats desperately need to come off that. These came on eBay and they're about 250 quid. New, they're about 500 quid, so not a bad saving. Got some heat wrap as well with the metal clips because it gets so hot in there, just to keep temperatures a bit cooler in the engine bay. This is titanium heat wrap rather than fiberglass, so I don't actually need to soak it in water. I can just go ahead and wrap it straight on. And here is the finished item. Doesn't look too bad. Clipped as well, ready to go back on the car. Right, I'm in the garage and I'm going to attempt to remove the cats, and for that a lot of things have to come out. I don't know if I can do it or not. I don't know how difficult it's going to get, but we'll give it a shot. First things first is this cover has to come off, which I've already done that earlier. Then I'm going to have to remove these side covers here, and then the whole airbox assembly is going to have to come off. And then that gives us access to the cats, one there and one there. Going to have to remove these clamps, 1 and 2. Then there's 2 more clamps holding it to the rest of the exhaust system around here and here. So sounds easy, but I think I'm going to have to get access as well through the wheel arch, because I like to gain these backwards, these like forward sort of clamps, whatever. So yeah, we'll see how. Don't know how it gets on. Hopefully it should be okay leaving the original exhaust back in place and the rear bumper as well. I don't think I'll have to remove any of that. So yeah, we'll see. Also, in order to remove that and these panels, I'm going to have to remove these struts, and if I remove the strut, the engine lid is just going to drop down, so I need to get a bit of wood or something and just wedge it in place.
So I removed the struts, wedged a bit of wood in so it wouldn't drop on my head, and removed those side panels, which was only just a few mismatching bolts. Attached the struts back on because it was a really heavy engine lid and I didn't really trust my wood idea. Next, I loosened the clips from the throttle bodies to the airboxes, and then the 4 screws to reveal the air filters. A little wiggle to get the air filter covers off, which seemed really dirty and due for a change. And then did the same for the other side because there's a throttle body and an air filter for each bank of the engine. Unbolted the bracket for the loom to move it out of the way, but it was really tough and stiff to move. Bit of a squeeze to pull it out without scratching anything, but managed to do it. And can now see the first glimpse of the catalytic converters.
Taking the airbox out, which is a little bit of dirt and oil vapor and stuff inside it, but we can clean that. Here's what we're dealing with. You can see the cats now. It was a tight squeeze getting that out. Oh, I found there's a broken, I don't know what that is. It's like a spacer or something for the airbox. One of those is broken off. Other than that, nothing else too bad. Just a little bit dirty. Gonna try and undo these clamps and see how we get on.
Very carefully tried removing the bolts for the clamps, but they were really rusty, so I didn't want to use any impact guns or anything like that, just in case. And to my surprise, they started to undo very easily. By the looks of them, was expecting it to snap instantly. On one side, and then the other. Cracked off the nut holding the heat probe sensor in there. And then moved it out of the way so it didn't get damaged. And as you can see, everything's done twice because there's two cats. Now I need to get the car out of the garage. Jack up the rear end and take both rear wheels off.
Had to remove the car from the garage to get it up in the air. If it was only one side, it would have been okay, but this is such a wide car and the wheels are so wide as well, it would just be impossible. It would just be really tight in that garage to do both sides. So yeah, easier just to bring it outside.
Discovered my own little sand pit. So from here, I've got much easier access to the other clamps. So I removed those, being really careful not to snap anything again. And off came the other clamps. And unclipped the oxygen sensors. So now with a bit of wiggling, I can try and get it out of the gap. With the sensors and pipes all still attached. No idea what this pipe is for. I tried removing it, but it was a really funny size. I wasn't sure if it was a 10 or an 11mm. It's kind of in between. And it was really tough to remove, so I put some heat on there and then some adjustables. Still with not much luck, so then had to get the big pliers out, which managed to loosen them off.
Look at the difference between these. So hopefully the decat should be a lot easier to fit than the cat, because it's a lot more thinner. I'm just going to put the O2 sensor back in. I'll probably tighten it up here, and then I'll try and offer it back to the car.
There's so much space in there now to just slide the straight pipe right in.
So it got dark and I'm still out here working. Finally done it. Here's the engine bay. Both cats, well, that cat is now out. It was a bit more of a squeeze into that gap. This the decat pipe is now loosely in. It's not fully bolted in, but I can do that in a bit. And if we go on to this side where I needed access, yep, very tight access in there. But I've done it, which is good. And in the garage, all the parts here are both of the cats. They're not actually stock, they're stock cats, but they're not the ones that came out of the factory, if that makes sense. Not sure how much I can get for them if I try and scrap them in, or try and sell them on eBay. I don't know if anyone would want them, but I'll try and weigh them in or something. I'm sure they've got like precious metals or something inside them. Not that bad condition wise, which I'm lucky, I suppose. You know, if I, oh, actually, all right, well, I'll take that back. There is some stuff shaking out of it. I don't know if that's from the outside or, I don't know, probably on the inside, you know. So that's kind of a lucky escape, because all that stuff is just really going to be going into the engine. All right, so yeah, I'll take that back. That came out in good timing. This one, like that one, left the oxygen sensor and this, it's called the misfire pipe, which this looks like someone's just knocked up a like an aftermarket one, just made out of copper brake pipe with a little flare on it, and so I'm probably going to have to heat that up and get it out like that one. But yeah, just a lot easier. Get it on the bench and try and get it out rather than taking them off on the car. Also, these O2 sensors, they've just got like Audi badges on them and stuff. I don't know what car they're from, but that'll probably be quite cheap. Anyways, there's 4 clamps holding them on, one on the back, one on the front, on each one. 1 out of 4 broke, which is not it's not bad going. Here it is. I mean, you know, it could be worse. And the vice. Ooh, bloody hell, it's tight.
This would have been really difficult if it was still inside the car. It was really tight in there, so with a few taps of the hammer, managed to wind it out.
There you go.
And then tried removing that weird pipe now on the second cat. This one was a lot easier to remove. It didn't need any heat or anything.
Just giving it a shake on the floor, and this little bit just came out. It's just, this was a ticking time bomb. Look at that. These little bits coming out. See, that's just going to be sucked into the engine. And yeah, okay, I think that's about it. But there's some pretty big bits to be floating around your engine. That is not good at all. And good decision not to drive it around until those cats came off. That was a close one. I'm here in the garage. I'm trying to sort out the misfire tubes, they're called, which so these came off the last exhaust. It looks like someone's just made them out of copper. They were really seized up. I don't know if you can see, but the threads are all crusty and not great, and just there's no chance of putting those in. Anyways, it's a bit of a funny union on the end of that. These aren't stock, someone's just made them. And what I did, I went and bought some of the correct unions, which is a 1.25 pitch 3/16 imperial brake fitting union, and one of these fits perfectly in here, which is good. So I went to my local car part shop and with my bag of new unions and asked them if they can make me up some new ones, which cost about £6 each. So that's a bargain. Considering people are trying to sell these on eBay for about 50 quid and they've done exactly the same thing, just made them out of copper, might as well get them to do it yourself. And just to add, I didn't actually know what these were for, because one end will go into the exhaust and the other end just goes into a rubber hose, which just goes to a sensor, and it's called a misfire tube because it detects if there's a misfire going through the exhaust, and then it will flag up an engine light. But what happens is these block up and rust up and stuff, and then the misfire tube actually just causes the misfire. So a bit of a waste of time, really. I don't really know. I've never heard of these before. I don't know any other car that has them. But yeah, that's what they're for.
Oh yeah, so the broken exhaust clamp I have turns out to be very expensive. This is about £355. This half is about £210. So those two together to make one clamp is £565, which is crazy pricing.
That sealing ring that goes in the middle to form the gasket is about 50 quid, but I can reuse that, so that's okay. Anyways, crazy pricing. At first I was thinking maybe I can try and drill that stainless steel bolt out. Apparently it's not welded in, it's just I don't know, really stuck in there with like Loctite or something. But that looks like a pain in the ass, so I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to drill that out and replace the stud. Instead, an option which I've seen other owners do is one of these. It's just like a universal V clamp 2.5-inch V-clamp, which does the exact same thing. That costs 20 quid, and hopefully it should wrap around and seal it okay, because it looks, the seal looks exactly the same. Like that will just fit straight in there, and then that can just wrap around the exhaust like that, and hopefully seal it all right.
So I started bolting up the original clamps on this side, the back one, and then the really awkward front one. Poked that heat probe sensor back in and then tightened it up. And then started on the second decat pipe, putting the oxygen sensor back in while it's not in the car. Slid that back in, which was a lot easier due to space, and then bolted that up too. I'm using new stainless nuts and bolts everywhere on the exhaust. The last one left is the new cheap clamp that I got. This side was a lot more of a squeeze to put it on, but I managed to get it on eventually, and it was only one nut on the clamp, so a little bit easier than the standard clamp. I made sure all the nuts and bolts were all nipped up tight for all the brackets. And then I threw the wheels back on and dropped the car back on the ground. I put those newly made copper pipes back into place. And then tightened those up on both sides, and then put the ends to the sensors back in and tightened up the Jubilee clips holding those on. Tightened up the second heat probe, and then plugged in the second oxygen sensor. Started it up, and there were clouds of white smoke. Apparently this is normal when you decat the car, and also the car has been sitting for a while. So I let it run for a while and let it warm up, and the smoke started to disappear a little bit. Bearing in mind also the weather is still a little bit cold. Eventually the smoke disappeared and I could start giving it a few revs. It was sounding not really quite right, almost like there was a small misfire developing, but it was popping a few flames, which was quite cool. Until disaster struck, and it sounded like an American V8. Hope you like this video and subscribe to see what happens next.